Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, I brought you a video last week over the shooting of Botham Jean he's from St. Lucia, residing in Dallas, Texas, by one Amber Geiger. And I was called out as being tone deaf and not understanding the situation. So, let me first talk about the situation where I was accused of being tone deaf. First argument the person had was that that Geiger was arrested in Kaufman County, Texas, as opposed to Dallas County, Texas, so she could get a better trial. Well, that's not the case. She was not arrested in Kaufman County so she can be tried in Kaufman County. She was arrested in Kaufman County because that's where she was at the time that the arrest warrant went out. I would assume she was visiting family or friends or whatever, as some people that know they're about to go to jail would probably do. Now, that's not defending what she did at all. I'm just making it clear that this woman will face trial in Dallas, Texas, unless there's a motion to move the trial because of a tainted jury pool later on down the road. But as of right now, it is taking place in Dallas County, being seen by a Dallas County grand jury, overseen by a Dallas County district attorney. So let's get that fact out there. I just want to clear up the fact on that, because I don't want people thinking that, you know, this person's getting a free ride because of Kaufman County being maybe more, reasonable towards a police officer or whatever, or more friendly. Because I'm from Kaufman County, and I guarantee you that if a police officer did something wrong in Kaufman County, they would definitely see a trial. I am from Kaufman County. I know how it works over there. They don't just generally let anybody that commits a crime off. But that's not what's happening here. She is not being tried in Kaufman County. She's being tried in Dallas County. And that is that right there. I was also the person mentioned, what about the witnesses? What about the witnesses? And all I can say about the witnesses is when that video was made, I did not have that information. I did not have the information that there were witnesses because I did not hear about Lee Merritt's press conference until later that afternoon. So that's on me for not seeing that. I don't know if he had even had the press conference yet, but I believe it's possible that he had and that I had just missed it. And so for that, I am sorry if you thought I was ignoring that particular bit of information. But there have been some updates. And I want to talk about the witnesses, as the person mentioned, that were brought up by attorney Lee Merritt, as well as some other interesting bits of information that have come up out of this case. First, the witnesses. Okay. After that video went up, I found out that Lee Merritt, the attorney that's, I guess, representing the family of Botham Jean, he said that there were witnesses that claimed to have heard knocking on the door, that heard a woman saying, "Let me in, let me in, let me in," and then gunshots, and then a man's voice hollering, "Why'd you do that?" Now, that's interesting because it does kind of fly in the face of the arrest or the arrest warrant affidavit. But I don't know what to think of it, because Lee Merritt has a history of making inflammatory and false statements. He was all supportive of that woman over in Waxahachie, Texas, who claimed a DPS officer raped her. It turned out to be completely false. The state trooper that arrested her for drunk driving was the utmost respectful and dignified as you could imagine. So I have a problem with some of the people, Sean King's tweet of it and Lee Merritt's discussion of these witnesses. What I would like to see is these witnesses come forward. That way they could, we could get it out of the shadow of Lee Merritt himself. Because I don't trust him. I don't trust him because of his past lies, whether he meant them to be lies or not. That woman in Waxahachie just put an end to me having any trust in that man. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that what this woman did was good, was right at all. But I have a hard time believing things that come from just Lee Merritt. Now, if the police talked to these people and left it out of the affidavit, then that's a problem for the DPD to deal with, and for the Texas Rangers and everything like that. But that'll come out in the grand jury, I'm very certain. Now, another issue I had was that there's a discrepancy between the affidavit for the search warrant and the affidavit for the arrest warrant for Miss Geiger. Okay, there was a search warrant of Botham John's apartment, which we'll get into that in a minute, in the smear campaign that seems to be. But in the Texas Rangers assessment and affidavit, it wasn't the same. They weren't the same as the DPD arrest affidavit. According to the Texas Ranger affidavit, the woman saw him at the door, that there was a confrontation at the door of the apartment, and then there were gunshots. Which would make more sense compared to, that would give more legitimacy to the argument that there were witnesses saying that she was knocking on the door, hollering, "Let me in, let me in." Why would she be knocking on her own door? 2, why would she be hollering, let me in, to somebody in her own apartment? Since she thought she was in her own apartment. Now, so there's where the difference is, because in the arrest warrant affidavit, it stated that she saw a man from across the room. She gave commands and then shot him when he didn't respond. So tell me if it makes any sense at all for there to be two different stories there. Does that mean she told two different groups of people two different stories? Because if she did, her whole story's a lie. That's what that would tell me. That would tell me that her entire story is bogus. And that Lee Merritt would be telling the truth about the witnesses. One way to clear some stuff up, DPD, would been to have been a little more transparent on exactly what took place. But maybe DPD didn't understand what had happened exactly. Because it's very confusing what happened. I swear there's something missing here that we're missing in the story. I have a friend of mine on Facebook that mentioned the same thing. That it feels like there's just something missing in this story. Now, as for a relationship between the two of them, the victim's family has stated that there was no relationship between the two families, or between the two people. That Geiger and Jean did not have any connection. And so, the pictures you've seen out there are not the same two people. It's not the police officer. And even in the picture, there's a picture with him in it. It's not the police officer from what his parents are saying. So I don't know. Of course, his family is from St. Lucia. And I don't believe they were in the States. I don't think they were there around when this was happening, when this took place. So I don't know how much they actually know about what he was up to or what she was up to. But it seems weird that they wouldn't know each other if she's banging on his door saying, "Let me in, let me in, let me in," and then shoots him. So I don't know what to tell you on that front. So we gotta wait for more information to come forward and see what happens. Also, there's some, like I said, there's some more information here as well. Geiger has moved out of her apartment. There was never a search warrant done on her apartment. There was never a search warrant. There's never a search or anything of her apartment. But the victim got his apartment searched. Don't make a lot of sense. But as of yesterday, there was an email sent out to the residents of Southside Flats saying that Geiger has moved out of our apartments. She's no longer a part of our community. And that goes to photographs that were circulated the day before showing trucks loading up with stuff and what looked like to be her leaving the area. So that takes me to the last bit of information I have right now. And this is an ongoing situation. As I get more information, I will bring you more information. But the last little bit of information I have for you is the fact that when they ran the search warrant on his house, people are making a big deal out of the fact, and even the media is making a big deal out of the fact that they found marijuana in his house. They found marijuana in his apartment. Tell me how that has anything to do with this damn investigation. Tell me how that has anything to do with anything. When a person walks into another person's apartment and guns them down. There is no reason that we should even give two shits about what if he had marijuana in that house. I don't care if he had a pound of heroin in his damn house. A person unlawfully entered his apartment and gunned him down. So stop the smear campaign. And that goes to the Dallas police and the local and the media that's covering it. Everything from the local news to Fox News. You are perpetrating a smear campaign. And I don't know if DPD actually intended that to be the case. But that's sure how the media is taking it. It is not right to sit there and try and smear a man after he's already been murdered. It is not right. It is not okay. And I do believe in the end, this woman will be held accountable for her actions. And as of right now, it looks like she's only going to get charged with manslaughter. I was reading some stuff from some attorneys who said that they don't see how they could show enough intent to get a murder charge. And that manslaughter would have to be pretty much what they could get. But that's up to the district attorney, and in the end of the day, they say it's up to the grand jury. But that's all the information I have for you on the Botham Jean shooting right now. It's a very tragic thing that took place. I'm sorry if some people thought that I came off tone deaf last week. I didn't want that to be the case. I didn't want you to think that I didn't care or that I knew nothing about what was going on. Because believe me, I am definitely on the side of unarmed people that are getting gunned down. I don't care if they're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. But it seems to be right now that black individuals that are unarmed are getting gunned down more and more and more. And this time it happened to be an off-duty police officer. So all I was wanting to do in my last video was to make it clear that it's not DPD's fault that an off-duty officer walked into somebody else's house and shot them dead. It's not the Dallas Police Department's fault. So direct your anger towards the right person, the right people. And that would only be one person, Miss Geiger. And that's really all I have for you. I hate that this has happened. I hate that we're still having to talk about it because there's still so much information we don't know. And it just makes me sick to my stomach. Anyhow, this has been the Big Rant Show. I've been your host, Jacob Keck. I'll see you down the road.